at the very heart of that, I think it's truly understanding how to technically structure your listings for these new intelligent algorithms. And there is a very specific schema that you should be applying to your listings, whether it's on Amazon or whether it's on Shopify or wherever else you are. That schema, the good thing about it is evolving around what that schema looks like and what influences those algorithms. But there is a lot of similarities in terms of the schema across the different platforms. So that, I would say, is number one.
Welcome to the Econ Breakthrough Podcast. Are you ready to unlock the full potential and growth in your business? You've already crossed 7 figures in sales, but the challenge is knowing how to take your business to the next level.
Do you want to know what the future holds for the future of e-commerce and agentic commerce? Or do you want to know how to stay ranked and relevant on Amazon as SEO dies and AI engine optimization takes over? Well, today's guest has built ZonGuru to help sellers like you do exactly that. Welcome to the Econ Breakthrough Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Hadley. I scaled my own brand from 0 to 8 figures in sales, and now my mission is to take it to over 9 figures. On my journey to 9 figures, I bring you unfiltered conversations with some of the smartest minds in e-commerce. Past guests include Kevin King, Michael E. Gerber, author of The E-Myth, and Matt Clark from ASM. Today's guest is someone who's on the cutting edge of Amazon growth strategy and tech innovation. I'm thrilled to welcome Jon Tilley, the CEO and co-founder of ZonGuru, a powerful AI-powered software suite built by Amazon sellers for Amazon sellers. With over a decade of experience in branding, digital strategy, and now SaaS leadership, Jon has helped thousands of serious sellers optimize their listings, scale profitably, and build businesses that last. Under his leadership, ZonGuru has grown into a globally trusted toolset, known for being Amazon Rufus optimized, data-driven, and designed to boost revenue and conversion. With that introduction, welcome to the show, Jon.
Hey, what's up, Josh? Good to be here. And dude, that's a serious skill set you got there on the introduction. Very, very cool. I can't do that, that's for sure.
Well, I appreciate it. And hey, it's easy for me to talk about all the accomplishments of other people. So it's just always good to hear about yourself. But Jon, I'm excited to have you on the show today because you were immediately close to what is happening on Amazon and Rufus and what's happening and evolving on the AI commerce side of things. And I think we are in for massive disruption over the next few years. We've seen how much AI has already changed the world over the last few years that it's been out. And I can only imagine what things look like 3 to 5 years from now in the e-commerce space. So maybe that's where I would love to start with you is look into your crystal ball. What do you see happening? What does e-commerce look like 3 to 5 years from now?
I don't think we need to worry about 3 to 5 years from now. I think we need to worry about the next 6 months and see what happens, right? Because it's moving so fast. But yeah, I mean, you get those unpopular opinions, right? I would say right now, almost the homepage of Amazon doesn't matter anymore, right? AI is really the new homepage, initial touch points for customers looking for products, right? And whether that is engaging with Rufus or with AI, that is really a critical step in the user journey that has to be considered. And getting the visibility and the position in that and structuring things in the right way for these new intelligent algorithms is a massive opportunity and something that's going to be disrupted ongoing for the next little while.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So with that being said, Jon, what are you encouraging sellers to do that you talk to? How should they be positioning themselves now, knowing that things are going to evolve dramatically and quickly over the next months to years?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. And I think there's so much that can be tackled around that. I would say at the very heart of that, I think it's truly understanding how to technically structure your listings for these new intelligent algorithms. And there is a very specific schema that you should be applying to your listings, whether it's on Amazon or whether it's on Shopify or wherever else you are, that schema, the good thing about it is evolving around what that schema looks like and what influences those algorithms. But there is a lot of similarities in terms of the schema across the different platforms. So that, I would say, is number one. Number two, there is a strong optimistic part around it in that, you again have a better opportunity of being able to showcase your brand, your USP, your product differentiator. You can start to speak more to that part of it because the AI algorithms are intelligent enough to map you to the relevant keyword. So gone is this idea of having to have an ingredient-based listing that's keyword stuffed. And that era is for sure gone. And now it's more about how do I really position my communication of my brand and product differentiation in a way that connects better with customers and leaning into that, which is awesome for us as brands, right? And so if you technically understand how you should structure your listings, and then you can lean into this idea of like, how do I really communicate my product differentiation and how to better connect with the emotional side of customers, you're going to be in a really strong place. And AI can help you to get there in a better way because it's so good at deep research as well. So very cool stuff there. Yeah.
Jon, as you touch on that, I think one of the significant things that you touched on, which is you got to know your customer. And ideally, you need to have a brand message, right? Or are you just hawking products on Amazon? And I think that's what's going to evolve probably the most is those commodity products that don't have a brand, that aren't really differentiated, that don't target a specific customer and serve them. I think those are the types of brands, or lack thereof, that are really going to be challenged over the next few years as things continue to evolve. Whereas the people that lean into a brand message and that know their customer and their ideal customer profile, their ICP, right? They will be the ones that are able to take advantage and be poised for success and growth as things continue to evolve. One of the things, though, that I would call out, Jon, is a lot of people think that, like, hey, from day one, I need to know exactly the mission and the vision for my brand. And what I've come to learn, and even speaking with a lot of other brand owners, is that if you don't currently have a brand message, like, it kind of evolves over time. And over time, if you're looking at your data, you're going to identify what are the types of products people are buying, and then what's the subsequent products that they're buying from me. And as you lean into like understanding who's purchasing your products, you could then come out with a better like brand mission and story. And the reason I say that is because most brand messages almost like they stumble into it over time and they figure it out over time. It's not something set in day one. And I'll give you two examples. Number one, you have like Poppy Soda, right? Poppy Soda went all in on a single brand message. And this is who we are. These are our values. And we're going to like crush it, or we're going to die trying. Like they were force feeding, like this is our mission, right? On the opposite side, you have like a 9-figure e-commerce brand in Simple Modern, right? That sells a lot of kind of drinkware, cups, mugs, etc. Simple Modern was started by three guys, and their initial approach to Simple Modern was not like, hey, let's go serve the 25 to 45-year-old woman. It was, as they launched products, they began to see like, oh, this is who's gravitating towards our products. Now they like these type of design colors, so we're going to come out with more of them. And oh, by the way, now they're looking for stuff for their kids. So their brand message evolved over time, and now they're really leaning into like who their ideal customer persona is and speaking to that ideal target customer. And so that's all I would say to like the listeners is like, you may already have like a dedicated mission that you're after. And if that's great, similar to Poppy Soda, that's fantastic. Like keep running with it. If you've kind of launched a lot of maybe like non-congruent products on Amazon and you just have like a hodgepodge of stuff on there, well, now it's time to lean into like, what are people buying? who seems to be like the consistent consumer, so that you can lean into that and actually create your listings that are tailored to that ideal customer persona. Because if you don't, it sounds like that's where you're going to get beat as AI evolves. Would you agree with that statement, Jon, or how would you approach that?
Yes, so I would agree with that. I think, if we just look at Amazon as a platform and the history of it for a second, when Amazon's launched this platform and came about in the last, let's just say 20 years, right? It's given us as individuals basically a platform that's allowed us to compete against some of the biggest brands in the world, right? And how we competed, was obviously optimizing and getting as much visibility as these other products. But also we researched against like, where are the product opportunity insights, right? Like, what's the trend that's happening in the space? Can we launch something quicker than other brands, get some traction? Those are like product-based businesses, right? That did really well on Amazon. And what we've said over the years, like, hey, this is great. You've got a leg up and you have a product, but you haven't created a true e-commerce brand, right? And we've been saying that, I'm sure you've been saying that, and we've all been saying that for years, like, this is your opportunity not just to be a product that gets sold on Amazon, but to truly become an e-commerce brand. How do you do that? Well, again, it's leaning into the idea of, understanding your target audience, investing time into truly understanding them, what makes them tick, what's the emotional side of it, how do I truly understand what I'm trying to solve for, and then come up with a creative way to connect with them in a better way. What's happening now with AI is we're almost getting a bigger leg up on how do we use AI in an intelligent way to get those deeper insights that we might be missing, or that only bigger brands like Coca-Cola could do with like massive budgets and big research, teams. Right now, we have those tools on the surface where we can do deeper research and figure out interesting ways to create angles around our product that could give us a leg up in the marketplace and connect better with customers. So those things, when you go back to some of those brands you talked about, maybe they ran into that opportunity through luck, right? And they just nailed something right and they kind of evolved in that. Or maybe they did have an intelligent way of repositioning their products, right? Or positioning their product that gave them an opportunity in the market, like Poppy Soda, right? But now with, the ability to access AI, you can get that deep research, you can connect on that better way, and you can, get visibility on Amazon, but you can start to create like a true brand and a positioning in the marketplace that factors in a lot of deep research that you couldn't have done before.
Jon, I love that. So talk to me more about like, what are those tools that you kind of reference? Like, hey, now with AI, you do have tools and data at your fingertips that at 5 years ago, only big brands like Coca-Cola could have access to get really, really dialed in on who that target customer is. What are the tools you're recommending like sellers use, and like what data are they dumping into those tools, and how are they building and getting to know their customer through these AI algorithms?
Yeah, I want to answer that piece, but I want to preface that first with saying, the beauty of AI is like the strategic input that you give into it, the better that is, the better output you're going to get. It's purely a tool at the end of the day, right? So you've got to be really careful about how do you figure out the strategic input that you want to put into AI or the system or the tool that you use to get the right output, right? And so one of the most important factors there is not the tool that you use, but how do you structure the strategy around what you're going to put into this AI platform or tool that you've got. And, we've had some really good results of late because we are thinking about the strategy of what we're trying to get at the end of the day from AI, and really thinking about how to input that in the right way to get the best results. So for example, we think about an Amazon communication or an Amazon listing about figuring out what we almost call the sweet spot, right? Which is the sweet spot between truly understanding customer sentiments, what do customers care about, truly understanding a brand's USP and how they are differentiated and their tone and who are they as a brand. And then the third one, what are all competitors talking about, right? What are the commonalities that they are talking about on there? And if we can truly understand those three areas and pull that information from AI and do deep research on that, bring those together, and then do deep research on what that sweet spot is, we then start to surface something that's unique that we can then apply to a listing and really stand out and communicate and connect with customers and everything, right? But if we don't do that hard thinking up front, which can be assisted by AI, if we don't do that, then we're not going to get the output that we need from AI, right? So I want to preface that and say, like, this is not, we've seen these themes over the years. This is not like, hey, this is a shortcut and there's a quick fix and we can just use AI and get the results. Like, the true experienced thinking that comes from the human aspect of us being subject matter experts is more critical than ever, right? To answer your second piece, the types of tools that we're using is, there's going to be off the shelf products, and certainly it's worth looking at. We've chosen to build them ourselves, right? So we have agentic platforms that we've built with multi agents in platforms like N8N, to pull in all of the data that we need, whether it's, AI agents that go and do some research for us, on the web or wherever it is, or on Amazon listings, or whether it's first party data that we pull, or agents that build on top of agents. Like, we built a multi-agent agentic model that has all of these multiple agents that work together to collectively solve on a problem. And we've chosen to go that route because at the end of the day, we're a technology company, and if you're not on the cutting edge of that, we're screwed, right? So that's what we do, is we built all of these ourselves, and it's changed for sure the dynamic of our engineering team and how we work, and every engineer is now, for sure an AI expert, and has to be using, AI in the right way, because the pace that we move at is phenomenal compared to where it was, right? I think a couple of weeks ago, someone was like, yeah, we're using the system, but it's out of date. This was released 2 months ago. It's like, that's the pace that we have to move at right now, right?
Yeah, it's not easy being in the SaaS space right now. Jon, you talked about this, but there's like a specific schema that Amazon's going to be looking for, and even other AI search engines like OpenAI. What's the schema that you're recommending, and maybe like your tools help support Amazon sellers, so that somebody listening to this, it's like, hey, this is the schema I would recommend for your titles, for your bullets, and your descriptions right now? What is that?
Yeah, it's a good question, and where Amazon is in this application of this new AI algorithmic technology versus other platforms like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, is a conversation in itself, right? Notoriously, Amazon is a technology company, but it's notoriously pretty slow in keeping up with some of the things that are happening in the technology space. In this case, they have to move a lot quicker. So I think that's worth discussing. But what we're also seeing is there are similarities in terms of the schema on Amazon and other platforms, specifically related to these AI platforms and how they read and map you for the conversations that are happening out there, right? And I think at a high level, A9 is what we know on Amazon, right? That is really about intent-based keywords, right? And creating a listing that is almost an ingredients-based listing of different keywords, exact match, broad match, synonyms, that Amazon, and prioritizing how you would place that in your listing, title, bullets, description, back in search terms. And they're having a pretty straightforward, archaic style algorithm that would find those keywords, and depending on where it is in your listing, give it more relevance. And if you had conversions come off of that, giving it more juice towards the algorithm, right? That is now shifting to both on Amazon and other platforms, of this AI, a more intelligent algorithm that is being built that can read your listings almost as a knowledge graph, right? It can understand, like, what is your content talking about, and then based on certain technical mapping, then say, okay, well, we can now match you to the universe of keywords, conversations, intent-based keywords, or experience-based conversations and map you to the relevancy of that universe and make sure that you're being visible where it's going to make Amazon more money or these other platforms give you more visibility, right? So that's the shift of what's happening. And Amazon solutions that is called Cosmo, which is like the technical mapping of your listings, and then obviously Rufus, which is the answer engine, chat interface that you can have, right? And we know today, like there's one use case. I can go to ChatGPT and I can say, hey, tell me how to find, tell me, I'm looking for I had knee surgery. I'm looking for the best knee brace. Can you tell me what I should be looking for? And blah, blah, blah. And you have this ongoing conversation. It comes back, it gives you recommendations, it asks you questions. You go back and you work on it and you find something you like. And then you probably jump onto Amazon and you keyword search that, you find it and you buy it, right? Like that's kind of like the general use case that happens today. That's going to evolve very quickly because obviously, Amazon is now, ChatGPT is launching their instant e-commerce, platform, right? Where you can buy products directly in those conversations on ChatGPT. Perplexity is coming out with it too. And then on Amazon, you have Rufus, which is supposed to be the similar thing where you can have these conversations back and forth, right? And so Amazon has to keep up on that front. And so if they don't give you a similar kind of experience to where everyone's getting a better experience on ChatGPT, they're going to be left behind. So they have to move really quickly. And part of that is the schema mapping that needs to happen around your listing so that AI intelligence, can give you visibility in the right way, both on questions, answers, reviews, schematic mapping, right? So I just want to kind of explain the broader picture of what's happening, and I think that's going to evolve a lot more on Amazon, where the search experience is fundamentally going to change and be more reliant on this conversational way of talking with Amazon, which is left to be desired at the moment with Rufus, but it's going to have to move pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So that's a general. I can talk. I'll give you a chance to respond there, but I know I haven't talked specific to the schema, so I can talk more to that in a second. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think that's the interesting thing is you've got multiple AI platforms that you almost need to optimize for, right? You're saying that you're seeing similar patterns, but between OpenAI, you've got Perplexity, you then have, Rufus as well and Cosmo that Amazon seems like a little outdated, almost behind the curve a little bit. So with that being said, Jon, if knowing that's the landscape, what's the schema you would recommend our listeners implement into their listing, saying, hey, this is going to be the best way for me to be the most optimized I feel like I can be until there's further clarification, just so that I do show up, whether it be an OpenAI or Perplexity or in an Amazon AI search?
Yeah. So you're optimizing, you used to optimize for the SERP, right? The search engine position, right? And now you're almost optimizing for the answer, right? So, what does that mean? I think on the schema side, there's a thing called semantic triples, right? Which, is present on Amazon. Well, to back that up for a second, Amazon released a white paper, a while back for Cosmo mapping and technical mapping, which is like, they gave you like a table and they said, hey, if you can map your content for function, for use case, for experience, they gave you all of these kind of technical areas. Like if you can make sure that you cover these areas in your copy, therefore Cosmo can map to that and then map you to the relevant keywords in the universe that's out there. So they've given, a basic understanding of what they are technically looking for in the listings, right? Great for us. We can take that and we can technically map on our end. And what they talk about there is like, and this is also present on other AI platforms, is like semantic triples, right? So, it's technically, it's almost like there's objects, there's experiences, there's intent, and if you write your sentences in a way that can match that triple, right? And there's co-buy as well, which is like, I buy this product with this product. I buy coffee with beans, right? Or coffee with cups and that kind of stuff. So there's the co-buy mapping, which is important for Amazon because they make more money off of you. So having co-buy experiences on there is important because then it can actually say, okay, this coffee and beans are things that we can recommend together on Rufus and that kind of side. And then there's the triples of structuring your sentences in a way that works with the technical triples that are out there. And if you structure your listings in that way, again, it will give you the visibility you need. So that's number one. Number two, that allows you, if you follow that structure and you map it in the right way, which AI is very good at doing for you, right? The other piece is then you can write your bullets in a way that is more benefit feature related, experience related. Hey, I'm using this at weddings or these things, or, kind of allowing you to be a little bit more free with how you write your copy, and not just intent-based ingredients lists, right? So you can then write from your brand perspective. So those are ways that you really need to focus your copy around Amazon. And then now with regards to title and how to write those, yes, it should be shorter and it should be more, not keyword stuffed, etc. But where we take an opinion right now is that we still lean more into the A9 way of structuring titles, which, at least at a high level, making sure that we are, broad matching. There's probably one or two exact keywords that you would match on, which is the main buy keywords, because people are still intent-based searching on Amazon, probably in the majority of way. But making sure that we've got that relevancy of broad matching for your top relevant keywords is still critical, right? Because we're still leaning into, like, Amazon hasn't fully shifted to this new way. There's still this A9 aspect of it, and no one's exactly 100% clear. So we're future-proofing by saying, hey, we're still matching in a strong way for your most relevant keywords in a broad match way, but then we're layering on this technical mapping that is needed within your listing content. So it's not, and then one other thing I would say is an executive summary, probably in your first bullet or up front in your listing, really just kind of structuring like, hey, what are you really about? Is important, and that's really good off of Amazon as well. Like, AI is looking for like an exec summary in your your Shopify listings, etc. Like, hey, give me the 101 straight up front, right? What makes you, what are you, who are you, what makes you unique? Get that up front as much as possible. So yeah, those are some critical things around listings. We haven't talked about images, and that's another big piece in your EBC content. But content-wise in your listings, we have a new tool called Cosmo Transformation Service that does this, right? And what we're seeing from launching these listings into the Amazon world is, keyword ranking and indexing is staying as is or getting better, which is great. But what we're seeing is the conversion rate of listings is going up, and mainly that is because AI is doing such a better job at truly understanding how to connect with customers, surfacing the best way to position your product and communicate in a way that connects emotionally with customers, and that improves the conversion rate, which helps you on rank and everything else as well, which is pretty awesome. So that's what we're seeing from doing the content piece outside of images.
Is it the fact that the content from even the images and the bullets in the title, it's more kind of like solution oriented? It's like, hey, we know you have this problem. This is why we're the solution. Is that more of like what it's leaning towards? Because you talked about that, like, instead of just optimizing for keywords, it's like you're optimizing towards like the solution. Like, people have this question, you're optimizing towards a solution. Is that what you're finding through all of this? Is that it's more like, talk to them about why this is the solution to this, and that problem? Or what are you seeing on that side? Like, what changes did you see in the images that made it different? Was it more lifestyle images, or what?
Yeah, so you're optimizing for the answers, right? And what are those answers? It is the practicality of the product and what the product can solve for, but it's also understanding the emotional aspects of the customer and answering those, right? And those sometimes are more subtle or hard to find, right? So we give an example on this new product that we've developed, right? Where we show you an example that we've optimized, right? And we took an automatic cat feeder, which is a dry food product that gives out certain portions of product in a timely manner during a day, right? But what the research started to show is like there's an anxiety that customers have around like, are they feeding their animals on time? Are they giving them too much food? How do we portion control? What happens if I'm out working for 2 days and I can't do it? How do I feel like this thing's taking care of my cat, right? So tapping into the emotional anxiety part of it and how you can position those feature benefits, but wrapped up in this idea of like, hey, we understand your problem as a human and a cat lover and a mom of this cat, and don't worry, we got you, and this is why we got you. That is what makes the huge difference in terms of conversion, because they're like, oh, this is speaking to me from me as the target audience. Yes, I understand it can be programmable and I can do portion control, but it's not worded in a way where it's like, hey, we understand your anxiety, we're solving it, don't worry, we got you here, so you're covered. And if you can connect on that level, they're like, oh, I'm buying this over that, no problem, right? So that's one of the biggest differences that we're seeing around how you wrap those benefits from truly understanding your target audience at a better way. Now, how we do that, and this is the cool part of, again, going back to this idea of like, you can use AI to do a lot of that deep research, but, how do we strategically think about how to use AI? What we've done in our system and how we build it is, we use AI and first-party data and we pull it all together. But in our process, we give the brand owner the opportunity to weigh in and input data into our model, right? So there's a brand intake process that goes in where you can strategically talk about your brand and what matters. There's a product summary, features, benefits, what to say, what not to say. There's these ways that we're using AI to surface that data, but then give the brand owner the opportunity to input into that because they know the brand best, right? And however much you input to that then influences the output of the AI. So we're tapping into AI, but we're also giving the human, the brand expert, the opportunity to weigh into that and influence that AI intelligent being that's created. Like we have an agent that is there just to understand your brand and every nuance of that brand. It's going to understand quite a lot from the space and from your listings and everything else, but giving the opportunity for the brand owner to input into that is critical, right? So we do that as part of our step as well.
Fantastic. Love that. What a great idea. Great tool as well. So Jon, I'm also curious too, as e-commerce evolves into agentic commerce, what does that look like? How do you increase your searchability or your discoverability, right? How do you make sure that in OpenAI or Perplexity, when somebody is having a question and they're trying to find a product, how do you make sure like your product's indexed, that OpenAI or Perplexity or even Amazon has you like crawled enough to be able to serve you up? I've also heard of like, well, make sure you get into like Reddit forums because, Perplexity gets a lot of info from Reddit. So make sure you're diving deep there. Even like Wikipedia, right? Make sure you're talking about your products there on Wikipedia. So give me your take. Like, how would you recommend people like just start bringing awareness? So like right now, if you're just on Amazon, how does OpenAI know how to recommend you?
Yeah. So I think the first piece I'd say there is like, as a brand owner, I would be thinking about how to get more visible with these AI platforms, which you've just asked and we can answer. But I would also say the inherent way of how to get more visibility there is to use AI in a way that you can do deeper research on your product, how to differentiate, communicate that, and connect with your audience, right? You just mentioned earlier again, like some of those unique, and we've seen in history, like that guy was so smart. How did they position their water in a way that just completely took the market by storm, right? Or whatever it is. You have that opportunity now. So if you lean into that and if you get that right, that's ultimately going to give you more visibility through virality and everything, which will give you more visibility in those platforms, right? So don't discount that piece of how you can use AI to get deeper and to think of different ways and creative ways that you can communicate and communicate and announce your product to the world. On the second piece, which is like, how do you get more visibility with AI platforms, OpenAI, etc. the schema is critical. So, making sure that schema is matched up on Amazon and other platforms is important. And the other piece is going to be about conversations in communities, right? And so you talked about that. And I think we know that AI is AI, but AI is only as good as its input, right? And if it's not getting an input from the source, which is like what the conversation is happening in the community, it's not going to have as much of a good output. And that's why things like Reddit, YouTube, etc., are so critical, and other platforms are so critical for exposure and then visibility in these AI platforms. So as a brand owner, I would lean into those and use AI to make sure that you can get exposure in all those platforms. So, and that's easier now than ever, right? So how do you use the efficiencies of AI to, up your posts on LinkedIn? How do you get into Reddit, YouTube, like, putting up, videos around your content on YouTube, Instagram, etc. These are, I think, the more you can have a presence in social conversations, the more you're going to have it. I'm sure TikTok's going to play a big part of that as well, right? So, just getting, I think Alex Hormozi, right, which he's one of the most important sales guys or voices in our space, right? He's just like saying, like, hey, like at the end of the day, if you can 10x your exposure, if you're doing one post a day or one post a week on Instagram, if you up that to 10 posts, there's a correlation between that and how much exposure you're going to get and how many sales you're going to make, right? So AI is very good at helping you with efficiencies and getting more data out there, right? So I would use that to get more exposure.
Yeah, fantastic. And here's what I see happening, Jon, is like, I think this social commerce world and the agentic commerce world are going to collide, and they really mash together really, really well. Because I think that agentic commerce is like, it's crawling everything. Somehow it's going to crawl Facebook groups and Instagram and YouTube content and Reddit forums and everything, right? And then it's going to it's just listening for everything that's out there. So you're right. The more content that you put out there, or the more creators, the more affiliates that you have talking about your product or service and reviews and their experience with it, I think then get you in the know for these AI algorithms to be able to recommend you, right? And so I think all the effort you put forth, I love the Alex Hormozi 10x, don't just do one post a day, do 10 posts a day, see what happens.
Yeah, and I think the piece of advice I'd put out there, and I put it out there to myself as well, right, with our business, is like, you can do that, but don't lose the human essence of who you are as a brand, and that you bring that to these platforms, right? If you replace that with AI, right, I think you're gonna lose visibility in these marketplaces, and you're not going to be as valued. Like, in all this noise that's happening, people who are ultimately our consumers at this point, they're not AI bots yet, as much as it might be down the road. But people right now are looking for, authentic content, right? And so, yes, you can use AI to get that out there, but you can't lose your authenticity of who you are, and you need to lean into that more, right? So as a brand owner, you ultimately have to up your game on being the subject matter expert, on being that authentic, true source, and then using that to expose yourself across there. If you're just going to lean into like, hey, I'm going to write a newsletter and use AI to write the whole thing, you're not going to get the visibility. Or I'm going to go into YouTube and just post a bunch of AI videos. You're going to lose visibility. So you've got to, whatever that stick is for you, lean into that. It's the creativity of humans that is going to surface at the end of the day, right? Like, we've seen it right now with our newsletter. Like, we've leaned more into our newsletter than we have ever in the past, because people are looking for content that is curated from a subject matter expert, and not just like blasted AI stuff that I'm getting all day out into my newsfeed or into my inbox, right? And so the opportunity out of all of this is to surface yourself as a much bigger, authentic human who's a true subject matter expert. And if you can own that, you're going to make a big difference in this space.
Yeah, it's interesting. There was a study done that they had humans read AI written content and then human written content. And they said like 80% of humans were able to like sniff it out. Like it lacks some emotional pull within them that they're like, this seems AI written. And so I do agree with you. I think like in the future, the biggest differentiation is going to be like your human involvement, right? As everybody is like all on the AI bandwagon, but like who's actually communicating, who's building connections with people. I think that goes a really far, long way in that new world that we're living in. Jon, what else? Is there anything else that we haven't touched on today that you feel like our audience and listeners need to understand?
Yeah, I mean, I think we haven't talked too much about it, but it is such a critical part, and probably even more critical is your images and your carousel and your EBC content on Amazon, and using that same kind of deep research. And we do it as part of this Cosmo transformation. We surface insights onto what should your image be, what should the narrative be told across your image carousel set, what should be the primary messages that you should communicate in each of these images. And that just, again, is so critical for conversion, and how you, again, emotionally connect with customers. So your content is important, but your images are more important, probably, in terms of helping with that conversion. And AI does a really good job, and the research, or the tool that we've built, does a really good job of surfacing those insights and helping you to separate yourself, the forest from the trees, and to be able to look at this and say, hey, what should I actually be communicating as my core message across my images? And we actually give you, we're not by far recommending using AI as a creative solution to put into your images. We still lean on creative experts and graphic designers, but we create a creative brief that is all the information and insights that a creative person needs to be able to execute and make your final images. And so with all that hard work, or that some of that talent that might be missed where they're not strategically thinking about how to create the messages around your brand, we're solving for that with our output on this Cosmo transformation service. And then importantly, what your narrative is told across the carousel on your EBC, but how you what content copy you put into your images that's read by AI and images is critical. And alt text on the back end, like these are all things that are important and are going to evolve. And I would say down the road, how the big play in the AI space is this structural metadata behind images that tells the AI, hey, what is the context of this image? I'm looking at a landscape of New York City, right? Like that's a picture, but like there's 1,000 years of history that culminated in that image, right? And that's all built into the metadata behind that teaches the AI around what the skyline of New York means, right? And so there's going to be parallels between that and like what structure you can put into your images on Amazon and other platforms that can help to give AI the context around that, right? And I think that's going to be a really critical play in the future as Amazon catches up around that. So not only structurally on the front end and what's being told and how to read that, but the deep research and metadata on the back end is going to become an area of blue sky that we can play in the future for sure.
Fantastic insights with that. Suffice it to say that we've got our work cut out for us. It requires a little bit more work and effort to understand your customer, what their pain points are, and to be able to properly communicate that to them. But those are going to be the brands that survive. This is where these are going to be the hard things that you have to figure out right now, but that will allow you to survive in the future. So, Jon, as we begin to wrap things up, I'd love to leave the audience with 3 actionable takeaways from every episode. Here are the actionable takeaways that I noted. Number 1, I think that focusing on your brand mission and honing in on whatever your brand mission and your statements are is one of the most important things that you can do starting right now. Because if you begin leaning into your brand messaging, it's going to allow you to understand who your customer is so that you can identify what their pain points are, so that you can then curate all of your product listings, your images, to be able to speak to that customer. In addition to that, as you look at launching new products, if you know what your mission is for your brand, you could then be purposeful with your new product launches instead of being product first, which a lot of us on Amazon that we just, hey, here's an opportunity, keyword opportunity. We're going to go into this product niche. right? Instead of leaning that way, I think what's going to be required is to lean into like an actual customer avatar and specific suite of products that you're serving them with in their journey as a customer. That's also going to be a timeless e-commerce principle to, if you want to have success off of Amazon, create a real Shopify brand, like you're going to need a customer lifetime value. So like, you're not going to make all your money on the front end sale of a $20 product, right? You're going to need to be able to nurture them and help them progress in whatever that journey is that they are on. So that's action item number one. Action item number two is I would recommend anybody that's not done this yet, but go request access to those programs in Perplexity and OpenAI to be a registered brand when they begin opening those things up. So if you're not, like, be at the cutting edge as soon as OpenAI begins letting brands in and scrolling your feed and get that set up. I think you're going to have first mover advantages here. Just like we all wish we could go back into Amazon circa 2010 and sell back then. I think that the same thing is about to happen with OpenAI and with Perplexity and where agentic commerce takes us. So be on the cutting edge of that. And as soon as OpenAI actually releases that and you actually see brands and transactions happening there, make sure you're one of the first ones there. My third and final action item for our listeners is to begin preparing your listings and to utilize some of the tools that you had mentioned. Jon, you guys have a lot of them there at ZonGuru, to analyze your images, analyze your listing, get feedback, and begin kind of like tailoring your bullet points, your images to be AI optimized, right? It's the AEO, AI engine optimization, so that you show up in the right place at the right time, especially as Rufus and Cosmo and all these platforms evolve. You want to be doing the best things now to set yourself up for success. Jon, those are my 3 action items. Anything you feel like I missed?
No, I think those are good. And I think it's, on the last one, I think even on your Amazon side, outside of, registering with these AI shopping platforms, right? And you've got your Walmart, your Shopify, you've got to be schematically structured. But, I truly believe that if you schematically structure your listings correctly on Amazon, you are going to get more visibility on the organic results of these, AI platforms like Perplexity, ChatGPT, etc. Right? Because objectively, those platforms have to give an experience that give you the plethora of recommendations of products, right? Whether they are incentivized through their instant shopping cart integrations or not, they have to give the right experience to customers. And that inherently means Amazon listings need to have visibility there, right? And your Shopify outside of just the integration. So future-proofing your listings by making sure that the schema matches what is needed on Amazon for the AI algorithm, but also for these other platforms is something that you need to do now, for sure.
Love it. Well said. Jon, as we wrap things up, I'd love to ask every guest the following 3 questions. So first of all, what's been the most influential book that you've read and why?
I think the latest one that's been really good for me is 10x is better than 2x. That book is so critical for brand owners, for founders, and thinking bigger than you are, but in the right way, right? So, if you can start to build in tactics and strategies into your business that are aligned with you being 10x the size that you are, you ultimately will get growth. You might not 10x, but you will not 2x, you'll 4x or 5x, right? And I think that's been a really critical book for me, and it's very short and worth reading. So I would say that, yeah.
That's a great book. And Benjamin Hardy, he's the author, came out with also a new book, Science of Scaling, another really, really good one that can entirely shift your paradigm of understanding how to scale and grow your business. So great recommendation there. All right, next question. What is your favorite AI tool that you've been using, and how have you been using it?
Yeah, interesting question. Actually, the one that I've been playing around with just this week is one called Raycast or Raycast, however you say it with the accent. Funny enough, it's a product developed out of Bulgaria, which is where our engineering team is based. We have a company in Bulgaria that's ZonGuru in Bulgaria, and it's a Bulgarian-based technology. And really, it's a operating system for AI. So You can have it on MacBook or Windows, and it ultimately is just like this dashboard way of using a bunch of AI tools and surfacing everything that you do into one kind of dashboard visual screen, and pretty interesting how it works. So instead of me having a bunch of apps that are open, I just have one, and I'm working straight off of that. So that's the one I'm focusing on right now, which is interesting.
Interesting. I have not heard of that one before. What's your best use case of like how it's helped you the most?
I think just one efficient dashboard that I can look at, and instead of having different apps open, it surfaces there, and it will remind me of things that I need to do. So it's just a much more intelligent dashboard that you have on your screen. So I think it's one place to look at, and everything comes together. Yeah.
Fascinating. Very exciting. Just looking at that now. All right. Final question. Who is somebody that you admire or respect the most in the e-commerce space that other people should be following, and why?
I mentioned him earlier, Alex Hormozi. I think he's obviously very sales driven, but I think as a founder of any business, you can be creating products and product differentiation, but if you don't have strong sales skills, you falling short of what you can achieve. And inherently, I think everyone has that. But sales is really just about energy and attitude, and it takes confidence, right? And I think he's very good at helping you develop that skill set. Worthwhile. He's got, his podcast, YouTube, you can find him anywhere. But Instagram, I think even just his highlights that he has is really interesting and significant. So crazy guy, but definitely puts a lot into it. So check him out.
Yeah, awesome recommendation there as well. Jon, this has been a fantastic episode. If people want to follow you, they want to learn more about the ZonGuru tools, where's the best place for people to go?
You can go to zonguru.com, and right on that homepage, you'll see that Cosmo transformation service, and you can kind of find out more about what that's about, or just sign up for our tool set. You can get me on LinkedIn. I think my handle's Jon Tilley, Jon, no H-T-I-L-E-Y. I post a lot on there. You can email me as well, jon@zonguru.com, and we can connect there as well. So happy to connect on all those fronts.
Awesome. Jon, it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thanks, Josh. That was awesome. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening. Visit ecombreakthrough.com for more information. If you've enjoyed today's episode, the best way you can show your appreciation is by clicking the subscribe button and quickly leaving a review. See you again next time.